Row 18, plot 20.
Hey everybody, welcome to Now It's Dark. I'm Jim. Today's movie review is a recommendation that came via my email, which is row18plot20 at yahoo.com. This email came from Dan Butler, um, and he requested that I watch the movie Friend of the World on Tubi. And I said, let me look at my calendar and see if I can fit that in. And I'm on vacation, so I was actually able to fit that in. And I'm glad I did. This is a 2020 film. It's only 50 minutes long. It's primarily black and white, but there are moments of color, but that has to do with the story. And I don't want to spoil that. This will be a spoiler-free review, which may be a little difficult. This has a 6.1 star rating on IMDb. It was written and directed by Brian Patrick Butler, and the top stars are Nick Young, Alexandra Slade, and Michael C. Burgess. Nick Young plays Gore, who's also referred to as General. Alexandra Slade is Diane, and Michael C. Burgess plays a fun character called Berenger. I hope I'm saying that right. There's also a few scenes with a character named Eva, played by Catherine Schott. And then most everyone are just kind of background people, civilians, they're all titled. And there are some butlers in that lineup as well. So this seems to be one of those kind of family affair type movies where there's a lot of people involved that are related to the writer-director, which is common with low-budget films. This does not have a very low-budget film look to it. I have to tell you that the cinematography is so good. It's very clean. It's very crisp. The lighting is very accurate for the different scenes. The storyline is after a catastrophic global war, a young filmmaker, who happens to be female, awakens in the carnage and seeks refuge, and she is kind of saved or found by an ideologically opposed figure of the United States military. Together they brave the toxic landscape in search of safety and answers. That wasn't the official synopsis, and I wish I wouldn't have read that. The official synopsis is, after a catastrophic war, an eccentric general guides a filmmaker through a ravaged bunker. The tags on IMDb for this start with comedy, and then horror, and then sci-fi. I think comedy is a disservice to the movie, personally. I do not feel like this is in any way like a comedy. Maybe I missed something. Horror, yes, there's horror elements. I think thriller, which I also see as a genre tag, is appropriate. Drama would have been a better tag for the genre than comedy. So if anyone involved, Dan, if you could speak to Brian and he can adjust comedy out of the genre tag, I think that would be a good move. So this was released on June 14th, 2021 in the US. And again, like I said, it's only 50 minutes long. I do have some notes here. It's TVMA. You can find it on Tubi, but it's also available on Flex and a few other places. But Tubi is obviously the place to go. The more a thing is perfect, the more it feels pleasure and likewise pain. Dante. That's how we open the movie, with that little phrase there. I really liked the opening sequence in the black and white, and the color. There's a couple of scenes of color at the beginning, and then it switches to black and white, and you figure that out why the one part was in color, into the movie. There are chapter cards, so there's like I think there was 4 chapters, and they have very creative titles that really are appropriate to the scenes that are about to happen. They're very relevant. Again, visually, I thought it was really good. There was a lot of confined spaces, and I thought that the lighting was good. The sound was really good. I really appreciated in the second chapter when General Gore makes a comment about Fonzie jumping the shark. And the reason why that stood out to me is that's a phrase I use all the time, particularly regarding like film series or TV shows. And if you don't know that reference, then Google it because it's pretty funny. In chapter 3, the action really kind of amps up, and it's brief, but it's there. This is a very dialogue heavy movie between Diane and Gore, and dialogue heavy but not overwhelming. But there's really clever writing done here, and the dialogue between the two is really, really interesting. And maybe because they were like, I got a Bruce Campbell kind of vibe from the actor that was playing Gore, and maybe that was meant as parody, but I thought it worked for that character. So I enjoyed it. I liked his portrayal of that character. So with that, like, I don't want to spoil like the big giveaway. So toward the end, though, we do get to see a little bit more of Diane's film. She's a filmmaker, and she was out doing her filming when this catastrophe happens, this world catastrophe, and that's how she ends up being found. When she wakes up in like a bunker or a basement or something with a bunch of other people, but they've all been killed. She was mistakenly spared, it appears, and we find that out, into the film, like chapter 4. In chapter 4, we meet Berenger too. He's an odd. He has a sequence. He's a great character at first. I got like Max von Sydow vibes off of him. Very interesting. But then his, I thought I noticed his language switched to like German or something. And then there's a really interesting sequence with odd music choice. But I think I understand what that was. This is a very like art style film. Like, it's like a experimental film, like artsy. There's a lot of critics, like the major critics, that have called it evocative, expressionistic, bizarre, innovative, Cronenbergian, and divisive. So that kind of gives you an idea of where this may fall into what kind of style of film you're going to watch. And then I wrote down, again, my last comment, like, because I'm doing spoiler free, I can't give very much detail, but the comedy tag, I really, unless, Dan, I missed something, let me know in the comments or shoot me another email. I'd be happy to read that. Dan, by the way, was in charge of the visual effects, which are very good. There's like some well done effects between some characters. Again, spoiler. It's such a short film that even giving like a little bit of a spoiler to try to explain why I think visual effects are good, it is going to give away only a few action sequences or scenes where there's like some effects. And I don't want to do that. I encourage everybody to go watch this film. Again, it's visually stunning. The black and white looks really well. So that is Friend of the World 2020 film. It's on Tubi. Dan Butler, thank you for reaching out to me at row18plot20@yahoo.com and suggesting this movie to me. I was very pleasantly surprised. I hope you will be too if you go check this movie out.
So have your dream. Go on and sing your song. There's nothing wrong with singing out of tune. If people laugh and say your dream can never be, just think of me.